unsurpassed, profound and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning.
Thank you, class. Actually, what does this mean? Actually, this opening sutta is actually practiced by a lot of Mahayana who actually wrote these few lines. You know, Mo Zak Tin, Wu Zetian. She was the one who actually wrote this. Because it's very important when we have our Dharma on hand. The problem is a lot of people cannot understand what is the actual meaning of what the Buddha said. Okay, so this is a vow by a lot of people trying very hard in the Dharma, in the path. Okay, so this is actually the verse by Wu Zetian. So it's very meaningful, especially I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning. Okay, so until last year 2016, I see some familiar faces. Anybody, any questions after the practice? After the Dharma, and then you go back and apply. And maybe I take 20 minutes just to revise, okay? Just a revision, okay? A quick one, okay. So last year, we talked about 4 Noble Truths in daily life. Part 1, our whole gist, we talk about the culprit. Who is the culprit? Part 1 is actually the second part. Okay, this is the 5 PAT chart. Okay, so what we did was, we actually learned these 2 circles last year, the whole of last year, the 6 or 7 classes, right? The first one is actually awareness, and then subsequently we come to root cause. This year, we are entering into wisdom. Okay, so I just do a revision on the first 2 circles. Okay, so the first one, remember the awareness, we are talking about awareness, whereby we have to be aware of our 4 emotions. You still remember the 4 emotions, right? What are the 4 emotions? The negative ones. Anger, fear, guilt, and sadness. So these are the 4 emotions we have to watch out during our everyday life. Okay, so these 4 emotions, and then the very important skill we learn from this is the stepping back. Step back and reposition. Step back and reposition. This is the utmost important skill everybody should know if we practice the Dharma. I have been practicing step back and reposition since the day I was born. So I didn't know it was a skill. But that's why sometimes I saw some of my people around me, like my sisters. I say, why your mind like that? Because my mind not like that, you see. So I didn't know it was a skill. Then after that, in 2008, I started to, share with my sisters. Then the people around me also. Then they started practicing, and they find that this is very, very effective. And this year, early this year, 2017, I read in a sutta called the Leng Qie Jing. Leng Qie Jing. If you are interested, it's a very, very difficult sutta called the Lankavatara Sutta. Okay, this is one of the most difficult sutta in the Mahayana, but it's also written in English. Okay, so then I found out this skill actually is written inside here by the Buddha. Then only I realized, oh, no wonder. So this step back and the reposition is the first few pages of what the Buddha started to talk about in the sutta. Okay, so it's very precious, especially young people. If you can quickly, master this skill, it will help you for the rest of your life and many, many lives to come. Okay, basically, a very, very deluded putujanas, okay, means your stepping back is 0%. Okay, and if let's say your stepping back is 100%, you are a Buddha, or a Mahasattva. Okay, so whether or not your practice is good or no good, it depends on this only. Whether you see, So this is very important, because this one is also mentioned in the Surangama Great Samadhi. Leng Yen Da Ting. They call Leng Yen Da Ting. Surangama Great Samadhi. Actually, they talk about this stepping back and reposition also. Okay, if you are very, very often here, nearing 100%, you are at least a Mahasattva or a Buddha. Okay, but if we are very deluded, deluded meaning we always like to go into the story of our life. When you see something, you drool inside, you watch TV, that kind of going inside a story. That one, you cannot come out on that one is deluded lah. Okay, so when you can step back, means you suddenly you wake up, you see, hey, what am I doing here? That one is a very simple mental thought only, but if you can do it all the time, it's very powerful. Okay, it's very simple, but it's very difficult. We want to go into story. When people argue, we want to know why, who is right, who is wrong. Why like that? Like that. That one, you must pull yourself out. Huh? Okay, so number 2, then after that we come to root cause. Okay, root cause, remember last year we were talking about 3 evil roots: greed, anger, and delusion. Okay, basically this one is our insecurity, and this one is our inferiority complex, and this one is our ego. Alright, behind this insecurity, it was backed by abandonment. Still remember not? Okay, and inferiority is backed by bully. All the bully happening around. Okay, of course this ego is the I we thought we need to protect, and we need to exaggerate. Promote lah, I call promote lah. Okay, the 2 P's. Alright, a lot of abandonment, you would like to protect your I. If you have a lot of bully in your life, you would like to promote the I. Okay, so this is what we learned last year. Okay, and then also we talk about 5 aggregates. We talk about the 8 consciousness. Right? And then after that, we move on to talk about karma and rebirth. Remember karma and rebirth? Whereby within our own family tree context. Karma, remember the chart you were talking about? And then the conclusion is, we do not point our finger outside anymore. Because after all the understanding, all the investigation, all the matching, we realize we actually deserve 100% of everything that happened to us. So the 3 conclusions are, we do not point outside anymore. Everything, actually, we are the culprit. For those who are not familiar, you listen to the first disc. Okay? And then the second conclusion is, we deserve 100% of who we are, okay, what we have, and what happened to us. So all these details you can find in the disc. All right? And the third one is, even though you're not practicing anything, but with the understanding of what the Buddha actually talked about, these 3 evil roots, and also how it comes about, together with our family chart, at least there's one thing achieved. Even though you don't practice, but with the knowing is good enough to reduce our anger. Because there is actually less why me? Why me? Why is it like that? Why is it so? Because you understand already. Okay, this is called the waking up process. Alright? So with this, because last year we started to distribute this out everywhere in a more massive manner. So many came back and told us, with this, some of their family ties are actually mend back. Because they start to see how their grandparents affect their parents, affect them, and they understand why the spouse is like that now. Why I'm like that now, why my spouse is like that, why my in-laws are like that. Because of the understanding of what the Buddha said, under 3 evil roots and karma and rebirth. So with that, they start to reconcile. Okay, so with this understanding, they start to forgive each other. Because we know all of us are actually victims of ignorance. Nobody is bad one. Okay? And then with this understanding as well, a lot of people start to have more communications and conversations among their family. Because you are witnessing what the Buddha said inside the family. Okay? And then after that, there are more awareness in life. Okay? So by just understanding and knowing, it helps a lot. Okay? So then we move on to why we hold on to the I so hard. Okay? Because we thought the I is so real. Okay? Subsequent class, we thought the I is so real, so habitual, and then so excited. So we hold on really hard onto our I, because everything is because of this I, this ego. And this is counter-attacked by what the Buddha said, the 3 characteristics of life. Non-self. Non-self, you realize, actually, are you sure your ego is so real? Okay? Habitual is countered by impermanence. Okay? And excitement is actually suffering. Okay? This is the 3 characteristics of life of the Buddha preached. Alright? So the Buddha taught us how to look at these 3 characteristics of life non-stop. Look and look and look. Okay? Until we wake up and realize this is actually the truth of life. That's why I call it the characteristic of life. Okay? The more you look at these 3 things, you realize you are so stupid. The feeling, I can tell you the feeling is like that one. You feel so stupid, being cheated by the I. Impermanence, you feel not worth it. Not worth it. You know, the feeling is why I like that? I'm really not worth it. And this one, you feel you so much of suffering. What for? This kind of feeling come on. Okay? So with these 3 feelings come out, after seeing these 3 characteristics in our life, you know what happened next? You will start to have this willingness to let go of your I. Not yet let go, no. Willing only. Now we cannot let go of our eyes because we don't even willing. That's why a lot of times you want to let go your eye, reduce your eye. Very difficult because you also don't want. The eye is so interesting, you know. And behind all this insecurity and inferiority complex pushing us also. Is it not? So that's why it's very difficult for us to want to reduce our eye without going through one process first. Are you willing or not? If you want, the journey is cut half, very easy. But if you don't want, even a Buddha next to you also cannot save you. You get me or not? Whether you are willing or not. But the willingness is only aroused through seeing this thing, matching with what actually happened. Then suddenly you realize how stupid we were. How not worth it we were. And so suffering, to hold on to this I, to hold on to this ego. Then only we want to willingly letting go of the I. With this, then it's easier. So what we learned last year, the part 1 is only, of course, stepping back is a skill, and then the view of this, we are the culprit. And if we do this part of the work, we are willing to let go only. This is the first part of the whole lesson, which is part 1 and part 2, awareness and root cause. Okay, so for those who are not familiar, you go back and listen to the disc again. Okay, you listen and listen and listen to the disc. Every time you listen, it helps, it sinks in a little bit. Because the moment you listen, then after that you come out from
or house, then you deal with people. Then the moment when the situation comes, you tend to remember what the Buddha said. Then you handle your situation. So listening to the disc helps a lot, because we had a few sharing came in another center just a few weeks ago. These people, I don't know them on, but they took the disc. Then after that, they start to call us, and then they came, and they did some very good sharing. I don't know these people, but when they came, first time they came, then after that, I said, you mind sharing with us? He said, yeah, no problem. So one of the common things that they shared is that after they listened to the disc, they were very touched by what the Buddha said. They keep listening, and the reminder was there. So it helps a lot. Every time when they deal with a situation, all the messages start to roll in their mind, and they can handle things much smoother. This is what they shared. So it's a little bit of clue to share with everybody.
Okay, so then we come into the second part 2, wisdom, this year. Okay, here we know we are the culprit. We know we have to learn how to see things so that we are willing to let go of the I. And then part 2 is this whole lessons is how to break the I. How? Okay, when you are willing, then you need to know the method which the Buddha taught us. Right? So this whole year, we are talking about how to dissolve, how to eliminate our I.
When you are willing, definitely is easier. Okay? How does the I exist? Okay? We cannot kill the I directly like that, because you must know how the I come forth. This I suddenly inflated, become an I, not suddenly like that grow up one, because it start to stand up as the I and grow bigger and bigger because of a lot of concept. You know the 金剛經凡一切相，凡一切相 these are. Okay? So because of this concept, we have so many concepts, that actually like a balloon like that, blow us up, become like an I. Right? And then actually, you don't kill this guy, All you need to do is to kill all these concepts. The moment all your concepts broken up, the I no more power. It will just flatten down and die. Okay? You want to kill the I, don't kill it direct. You kill all the concepts that we hold. Basically, we will be talking this diagram this whole year on how to kill the concept. Listen with an open mind. Our mind has been too closed. That's why you cannot savor the wisdom of the Buddha. Alright? Because of the concept we have been holding.
Okay? So, basically in our life, there are only 2 types of situation at all times. At all times. 2 types of situation. One, we call it no law of affordance. That means we are suffering. Okay? Here, we need tolerance. Okay? That means we are at a doldrum of our life. When we are very weak that time. When karma ripening. Okay? Here we call kanti. Okay? Another type of condition in our life, okay? With law of affordance. With law of affordance. That means we are strong here. Okay? Here we need diligence. Diligence or effort. Okay? These are only 2 things happening in our life. Viriya. So, tolerance means what, In life, when we are at our doldrum, when we are not rich, when we are weak, or these are situations, or sometimes we face with people we're very scared, maybe boss, maybe when we were young, my father, or maybe very fierce husband, fierce wife, So you need to have tolerance, right? Another type of situation in our life is when we have all the law of affordance, meaning we're very rich. We have a lot of position, a lot of power. People around us all scared of us one. This one is a law of affordance. Okay? So these are only 2 things happening all the time in our life. In different situations only. Okay, so this year, our topic, we're going to talk very much on this one, on tolerance. All the 11 classes here, we talk about how to go through tolerance. When things not favorable happening to us and when we don't have the law of affordance. Okay, so maybe come 2018 or 2019, we enter into the second part. This one, diligence. This part is when we are very, we have a lot of affordance. We are very rich. We are very high in position. We can command a lot of respect. At that time here, this part is actually the trap starting. The starting is not here, no. The starting is the trap. Okay? When you have another 4 emotion, we will introduce next time is a very, very so-called happy emotion in the worldly world. They call it happy, but the Buddha said all these 4 actually is the starting of the trap. Okay? Starting of the trap. These 4. But this one we talk next time after part 3. Okay? So part 2, we're going to talk about Ren Ru. Because a lot of times we must teach people how to get themselves out from suffering first before they have the focus to listen to the Dharma. Okay? So here, the Jing Jing with a lot of affordance, people don't come and listen one because they say, my life got nothing wrong, ma. Correct. Here, people open ears. But once you practice this part already, you got to come down here. Because if you know how to tolerate, you know tolerance, your life will change one. And you will enter into with a law of affordance one, diligence. Because this is your test. This is your test. Okay? You will be tested when you're suffering, when you are low. Because with a lot of suffering. But after everything is overcome, you will be given this. This is the test already. Another test. Okay? Because a lot of people cannot pass here. Here can pass. Because a lot of suffering ma. Here, a lot of people cannot pass. Why? Because when you have a law of affordance, we usually don't practice. Usually it's like that. That's why those beings are in the Deva realm. That's why the Buddha don't talk Dharma in the Deva realm. Because no audience. Nobody come. Because nothing to learn. They feel that they got nothing to learn. But this is the starting of the trap. Okay? So, this 2017, when we come to this tolerance, we have 11 classes. Alright, 11 classes. Today we're going to start with all is mind. Okay, part 1. Next month is another part 2. Okay? And then we go into goodbye fear. Actually, this one is these topics are divided so that it can cover fear, anger, guilt, and sadness, which is the 4 emotions. That is actually the root of all our suffering. Okay? So, goodbye fear, actually we talk about, because we don't really know what the Buddha talk about karma. Again, karma. Okay? Sayonara anger, we talk about a lot of worldview. We are so much cheated by what the world says. Okay? So cheated. At all angle, at all time. Okay? So this is how we settle anger. And guilt, we talk about the middle way. Lateral thinking, the middle way. Right? So this guilt part is very interesting because it will be a lot of skill. A lot of skill and it's very helpful in our daily life. Okay? Even if you're a corporate man, you go and make a decision, you still need to use the middle way. Right? And sadness. Finally, sadness is actually we talk about the 3 rules of acceptance. Again, it's a skill. How you apply. Okay? Actually, this part under tolerance, we actually share on the way we actually live life in the worldly world. In the worldly world. Not monastic, so much monastic, because this part you go out and deal with people, with the Dharma behind. Right? So all these are preached by the Buddha before. And then come to 9 and 10, this part, sure, a lot of people ask question one. Karma dirt and karma creditor. right? And then finally, I will wrap up the whole thing using Diamond Sutra. Diamond Sutra, they talk about concept and perceptions. Okay? So the first and the last class are very important because these two actually the gist of everything. Actually, everything, 一切唯心是造, all is mind. Okay? So we shall start, right? And before I start, I want to stress for 5 PAT, actually is a 5 practical application of transformation. We do not practice to do. There is nothing to do. Nothing at all. Okay? There's only one thing we promote or we practice is waking up. You just wake up. Right? So nothing to do one. So you don't have to purposely have time. All you need the time is to listen to the Dharma. That's it. And then you've got a lot of work to do already, all at mental level. We don't practice to do like chanting, reciting sutra or mantra. Okay? We don't practice doing dana. We don't practice holding precepts. We don't do prayers. We don't practice to be a good man, to be a kind person. We don't practice to talk nicely. We don't practice to do good. We don't practice to don't hurt people, don't make people angry, or don't get angry yourself. Don't be rude, don't do this, don't do that. We don't practice that. Right? Sounds like a cult, You know why? Because those are all 方便 convenience. That is not the final reason of a Dharma. Alright? So, once we wake up, we will do all this just now I mentioned automatically. Automatically, not by instruction, not by pressure. You know, I'm pressured to be a good person. People say must be a good person. If I don't do this, I feel guilty. Actually, we don't even know why you want to do this. Okay? So, whole 5 PAT, we only promote waking up. Okay? So, there are only 2 major requirements under 5 PAT. Okay? Number 1, step back and reposition. Okay? This is the skill. I always stress this. Skill, number 2 is view. Skill is repositioning only. This one is very, very important. Okay, after all these parts, I will go into the sutta. Okay, and when you come into the Lankavatara Sutta, Leng Qie Jing, you will find the beauty of what the Buddha said of how your mind can do wonders. Okay, so, and then the part 2, we talk about view, right? And this view, you are supposed to understand the ultimate truth of life. That is how we wake up. You know, wake up, what is the truth of life? When you know the truth, you would not automatically be a good person one. No need instructions, no need pressure from others. Because you woke up already, what? Correct or not? So everything become automatic and from the heart. Right? So under this view, there are only 4 things we practice. Number 1, observe. Observe. Okay? I write down, so you all can copy down. This is very important. Observe. I only need everybody to observe. Number 2, contemplate. Think. Okay? Contemplate. Okay? Number 3, match. And finally, investigate. Not use body to investigate. Use the mind to investigate. Okay? Investigate the Dharma. These are the 4 things we promote. Observe, contemplate, match, and investigate all the things happening around us. Okay? With this view, right view, and the skill of repositioning, I tell you, we are actually waking up already. We are waking up. The Buddha said, why we cannot wake up? There are 5 reasons. These 5 things are very terrible, pulling us all the time so that we cannot wake up. But the moment we woke up, everything is settled. You know, so we don't have to go through all the 方便法. That means do all the to-do lah. You know, because the to-do is just to finally lead us there. So why not we just go direct and wake up so that you know why you're doing it. So there's no more to do anymore. Okay? So these 4 is here, actually finally skill and view is to convince ourselves of what the Buddha said. Okay? Then you will really appreciate appreciate the Buddha and the Dharma, and especially just now the verse, you really understand the true meaning of the Tathagata. Okay? And when you know, I tell you, all the tears will come down. So touching. And when you wake up, your compassion is gush out. Why? Because suddenly you realize when a person deluded, how suffering they are. You know? So these are all automatic one. Okay? So the important thing under 5 PAT, we only promote waking up. Okay, let's go into tolerance. When we are being bullied or abandoned, right? So this is when karma ripening. We are under no law of affordance, situation of no law of affordance, right? So I give you some example. Okay, you listen whether these are the things happening around us, to ourselves and to the people around us. Okay, when we are weak, we cannot afford, usually when we are very young. Okay, when we are very poor, when we are very weak, right? Maybe physically old or sick, right? When we are very lonely, nobody by our side one. We live by all ourselves, you know. Or maybe another one is we are very low in the society, low status. Okay, so these are the weak moments. For example, okay, when we're born in a poor family, okay, there's no law of affordance. We need a law of tolerance, right? So, or when we're born in this kind of poor family, maybe we have bad parents, okay, bullying parents, abandoning parents, right? And very terrible siblings, not cooperative, don't want to communicate, you know, siblings like that. Or maybe we have parents who are very violent or abusive, either physical or words, abuse, speech, okay, verbal or mental, right? So these are really the doldrum of our life, because we are very young, we cannot do much, right? Sometimes we have good childhood, or maybe born young in the family, very happy. But the day bad luck comes when we got married, okay? Just like a friend of mine, right? The day she got married, she said very, very not worth it, you know, because the husband very abusive, okay? So maybe we marry a wrong spouse. Like for example, you marry a spouse never bring back money or never care about the family, violent, cold, always black face, okay? Maybe sometimes got extramarital affair, you know, or maybe very hard to get along in-laws, you know. So these are the time we need to tolerate, right? And also maybe after we grow older, we have difficult children, right? Difficult children like unfilial, they are not filial at all, very selfish, only the spouse and their own family, you know, never care about the parents, okay? And maybe children who are very abusive with words, you know, and never even pay or whatever care to, you know, think about the welfare of the parents, right? So difficult children, right? And then in terms of career, business, and work, sometimes we meet with very nasty bosses or colleagues, you know, and also even as a boss, you'll be threatened by employees, or maybe have cheating clients, or maybe cheating partners. Okay, all these are actually our doldrums. And not only people, what about environment? Environment, like for example, economic downturn like now, right? Ringgit drop, and then sometimes we meet with bankruptcy, divorce, broken relationships, you know, and of course the worst one like disaster, crime that can happen around, right? And then finally sickness, the big C word. Some people don't even dare to say this word, cancer, you know, depression, you know, so we can enter into situation like that. And then finally old age, pain and death. So all these are under tolerance. Okay, bad situation. And all these four will easily create the four emotion. Remember the four emotion? Fear, anger, guilt, and sadness. Okay, and it become even worse during these doldrums. It become worse when our karma dirt ripens and our karma creditors coming after us. Okay. So, when all these bad times are happening, actually, it's not a bad thing. Because it is a time where our bad karma ripens and we are actually cleansing away some of our karma dirt. Okay? So, actually, it's really alright, because if you don't have this in our eighth consciousness, it won't happen to us one. Okay, remember the first class we talked about, we deserve what happened to us, who we are and what we have, right? So it's really fine. We are actually trying to get even only with our past, okay? But the problem is when it happens, we just cannot accept, because we do not know what is tolerance, okay? And that is where we start to create again, all right? Remember the chart? That's why we are round and round in the samsara. Because when we are young, we are being bullied, okay? But this thing stored inside our eighth consciousness, we didn't actually cleanse it, okay? And then when we have the law of affordance, then we start to again commit all these actions or you know, speech or whatever thought that we actually go back and create all these bad karmas. Because why? At tolerance level, we never cleanse it and we never stop it there. Right? So this is where we start to learn how to stop it there. Okay? And in fact, not only stopping it there, stopping it once and for all, forever. This is how the Buddha taught us. You see how powerful the Dharma. Because if let's say you wait for the bad karma to ripen and cleanse, you know how many lives we have to wait. You know how much bad karma we have. We have existed for so many billions of lives. You know, all the bad and good things that we've done, you see. So how to wait for all the bad karmas to ripen? So that's why the Buddha taught us one thing. Only one thing, just at the level of the mind, you can clean everything once and for all. Interesting, huh? So this one is the special offer. Okay? Special offer. But of course this is very interesting. Serious is very interesting. Okay, when bad karma arises, we are affected because we always think that there's an I to protect and to promote, right? So when bad karma happens, we're very scared because there's an I we thought, you know, to protect and self-defense, you know. So that's why we are affected. However, we can choose not to be affected because we realize the secret. Because everything is actually by the mind, not the external factors. Remember the first D's? Okay, today we're going to stress on this. First D's also we mentioned. Everything because we are the culprit. We are the one who attract all this, right? And then this class, we are going to talk about all is mind. It was this mind that actually can protect us. Because we thought we are affected, we are threatened by external objects. And external objects are the one now we have to address. No, that's wrong. Even the scientists said that. Okay, we will go into this. Okay? So 一切唯心是造, everything is actually the mind that creates. Okay? Even all our suffering. Right? So do not tackle the outside factors. The outside factors they are all shadows. You know, shadows and putting us to test only. Right? So, okay. Now I want to introduce one very important concept under tolerance. Okay? That is called the law of reality. We call it law of reality. The scientists call it the uncertainty principle. Okay? The Buddha call it all is mind. Okay? So I talk about what is it first, then I tell you what the Buddha said, and I tell you what the scientists today say. Okay? Law of reality is everything is unreal, right? Until we choose to make it real. We choose one. Okay? All that we see, we smell, we taste, we listen, even we think are all concepts only. Okay? And they are not real until we make them real. Okay? Until we make them real. I give you a few examples. Okay? Even all these war, these building, these people sitting down, your wife, your children, your husband, all this not real one. Okay? Hard to accept. And this is one of the hardest, the wuzhu, the 5 most deluded thing that cannot make us wake up is this one. The first one. What you see, you thought they were real. This is what the Buddha said. Okay? So this is number 1. What you see, you thought they were real. Okay, for example, okay, talk about, I give you example. One day, the train come by, LRT station. 100 children came out, right? There was this man, there was this woman. The man actually waiting to fetch the son, and the woman waiting to fetch the daughter. Okay? So, for the man, I talk about the man first, right? So 100 children came out from the LRT. So this man looking for the son. Then when he saw the son, hey son, here. The moment when he sees the son become real. And the 99 fella walk past him. Do you think they are real to him? They are no longer real. He doesn't know what is that. They are not real. Okay? To the woman, okay? She's supposed to fetch the daughter. Hey, daughter, here. Right? The moment she identifies the daughter become real. The 99 children are unreal. Because after they pass them, she doesn't even know who are they. Correct or not? Okay, now. To the woman, the man's son is not real because she doesn't know him. To the man, the woman's daughter is also unreal. I don't know who is that. Correct or not? So now the question is, the 2 children, real or not real? To the man is real for the son. To the woman, this one is real So now, as a third party, we sit there. Okay, you ask her, is the 2 children, are they real? They are not real.
Relatively real.
Yeah, that's why you are the one who actually make real. The thing real come in because of your mind. Your mind say that this is my son. Real. Okay? The rest all pass. Nothing to do with me already. You get me or not? Sorry, you want to ask something?
I want to ask what's the meaning real
Okay.
in this context?
The thing is, nobody know how to say this. Real means you think it exists. Real lor. You get it or not? When you think it exists, it's real ma.
Think.
No, you think it exists. You think it exists. Yes,
To me,
it's real.
think, if that's the case, like everything is unreal. Is think.
Yeah, you are right. Imagine you close your eyes, you sit down, meditate, you shut everything. That time, at that moment, what is real? Especially at our dying bed, what is real? Okay? So I'm using this one at our daily life. For example, another one. I used to stay in PJ, Sea Park, 20 years. I go to this park every weekend. So I walk around. One day, I saw a lady introduced to me. Hey, hi. Okay? I also stay in Sea Park. Hey, you also stay in Sea Park? We've been staying here around 20 years. I also. Oh, is it? How come I never see you one? Okay, never mind. Okay? After that introduction, everywhere I go, I start to see her, no? How come last time I never see this person one? Who is making real now? My mind is making her real. Correct or not? My car Suzuki broke down 10 years already. So I wanted to get a car. Okay? So my friend said, hey, Honda HRV, very worth it. I said, wait, car, what's that? There, like that one. So she pointed, there, this one. Okay? After that day, everywhere also Honda HRV. Before that, I never know this car one. Correct or not? Because the moment you make real already, it's like everywhere also this car, now. Even at that moment also everywhere, but I didn't see. Because to me it was not real. You hear me not?
Carol, I think the word real here is normal. I think the relevant is a better word. It's not relevant to you because you don't sort of,
Yeah.
make contact or make associate.
Yes, correct. Actually, it's the entanglement. You can use it relevant. You can use it. Okay, maybe you cannot accept the word real first but you can use it relevant. As long as you know what I mean. It's actually the entanglement that I entangled, and the thing become relevant, and after that it becomes so real to me. Correct or not? Real is in the middle but finally it becomes so real. When we talk about our relationship with our people around, you really realize it is so real. Okay? So, now then the part is actually, the three examples there is actually the notice. Okay, this notice is actually having entanglement with that person or with the thing. You start to notice, right? We start to brand them, we start to conceptualize them, and we start to classify them. Or this girl stay in Sea Park, a friend. Okay, this car I want to buy. That's my son, that's my daughter. You start to identify and classify, and they become relevant and eventually real. Okay, so what is at work? Actually, our mind is at work. That's why everything is because of our mind, right? The Buddha said, the mind is everything. Okay? All that we are is the result of what we think. Correct or not? All that we are is what we think. So even Diamond Sutra said, 凡一切相皆是虚妄，凡一切相皆是虛妄。All concepts, all form, all perceptions are all unreal. Illusions. Okay, these are the words of the Buddha. Okay, so the Buddha said already, now we also use our practical to test out already. And 2,500 years later, quantum physics seems to come to the same truth. Quantum physics, right? So this is actually confirmed, not observation. These are confirmed, tested by the scientists. It's not observation. Observation, that means that they already know it's going to happen. Not confirmed yet. But this experiment is confirmed. It is called the You can go back and Google lah, huh? It is called the double slit experiment. They did the experiment on those electrons.
So this double slit experiment happened like that. Simply, I tell you lah, huh? Actually they put two slits, right? They let all those photons lah, electrons lah, they let the thing pass through, right? So when you have two slits, the thing pass through, you shoot lah, you shoot. Isn't it the other side, the board there, got two slits, right? Okay, I let all the thing pass through, the board behind also got two slits, right? So yeah, they thought it's like that. So when they let it pass, suddenly it appeared 8 slits. 8 slits is the effect of a wave. You know, when you pass through these two slits using water, wave, it comes out the effect behind is actually 8 to 10 slits. Because the waves start to crisscross. So come out, it got 10 slits. But let's say if not wave if just particles solid particles, they shoot like that. Isn't it 2 lines only? But it comes out 8. Means the particles are what? Are like wave, right? So the scientists said, cannot be, So how, So what they do is that they go and put one detector, like our eyes like that. So they use the detector to check, this slit, when the photon pass through the slit that time, what happened to the slit? How come it end up 8 places or 10 places behind one? They want to observe, So they put the detector. The moment they put the detector, suddenly the slit become 2. No more 8, Then how come when the detector is there, the slit become 2 only, not 8? So they quietly switch off the detector, as if nobody watching. So they let the experiments continue. When they switch off the detector, suddenly the slit become 8. Very funny, So the scientists also don't know what is happening. That means the moment you observe the thing, it becomes particle. It becomes finite potential. Finite, not infinite. Limited potential. But when they switch off, nobody sees that time, suddenly it becomes wave. Means what? The moment you start to exert a force, by a virtue of a force, the particles become real, It becomes finite really. Or particle becomes solidified. Or else it's actually wave. You get me, So you go up to the experiment. These are the things until today they cannot solve. They can only solve it through string theory. That's why the scientists are actually looking into the string theory.
Double slit. If those people, especially the guys, if you like, you can actually look into the Google, you look for this. Okay, these are the conclusions by the scientists. Okay, you listen to this also, or jaw drop. All matters originate and exist by the virtue of a force. Zoom. Force. When you notice, when you see, when you identify. Okay? All matters originate and exist by the virtue of a force. We must assume this force, which is the existence of a very conscious and intelligent mind. So they said we have to assume this force, If you don't assume this force, the matters doesn't originate anymore. So we must, sorry?
But if you assume that it's just a hypothesis, it's not a truth.
Oh, no. We must assume this force means the person seeing it, you assume this force only. This is not hypothesis, this is confirmed already one. They did the experiment, and they call the uncertainty principle. The scientists also got shocked, because calculation also like that, theory also like that, practical also like that. That's why this experiment using this one, double slit experiment. It's a confirmed thing. Assume this word is not for this test, means the person needs to assume this force in order to make this real. But this is by a virtue of a force, okay? This mind is the matrix of all matters. the mind, because of the intelligent and conscious mind looking at it, by just looking at it and giving it a force, the thing suddenly become real. Okay? So, virtue of a force is actually observe, see, identify, and you brand the thing. Alright, for example, another practical test. Imagine you cannot sleep one night because something is bothering. Right? Everybody sure got this kind of experience. So you start to think. And imagine. Wow, like very real. Then after that, you're very scared, very worried, cannot sleep. Got not? This one also because we are imagining, you know what we are doing? We are putting in the force, We are assuming the force, using the mind to create. Then suddenly, you see your feeling. How come feeling come out? How come scared? Nothing, you're in a room supposed to sleep, Why the feeling all come out? Why you cannot sleep? Why you stress? Because we allow by ourselves there, with the mind, we create the world there. The world of fear, the world of worry, the world of anger. It's actually nothing, That's why people imagine they got split personalities like that, because they create and make things like real like that. Okay, actually all self-create. But even outside world, the Buddha and the scientists also said that. Okay, then the scientist said, what we observe is not nature itself, but nature that is exposed to our method of questioning. Means how I see this thing. Okay, I see my son because for me, I really see you nature, just a man. Alright? But I don't see the nature that he is only a 4 elements and 5 aggregates. I see him as my son. I have a lot of memories with this boy. So I don't see the nature. I see according to the method of questioning. Method of how I see is how I question this thing. But if this boy, this son, is my son with so many, entanglement in there, so my method of questioning is smeared with a lot of concept. Okay? So this thing become real, become relevant because of the method of questioning for the observer to see it. Okay? Now, for example, last time I saw my friend fell in love with a crook. For us, it's so clear. He's actually cheating her money. But to her, he is a Prince Charming. How? Because the method of questioning very different. Okay? It's the same like a murderer. For us, the victim, sure I hate him, isn't it? But what about the mother of the murderer? My boy cannot be. So that's how we see things according to, the method of questionings. Same like Malaysia. I think Malaysia is very beautiful. I want to stay here. But I have friends who dying their whole life effort to migrate. Isn't it? See how we see things. Okay, that's how the method of questioning. R.C. Henry, professor of physics at Johns Hopkins University said, he said this a fundamental conclusion of the new physics says that the observer creates the reality. We are the one who create our world. Okay? As observer, we personally involve with the creation of our own reality. Okay? We involve in it. Okay? Physicists are forced to admit that the universe is a mental construction. Mental construction. That means it's created by the mind. Okay? Pioneering physicist Sir James Jeans wrote, universe begins to look like a great thought rather than a great machine. Okay? It is the thought that make up the universe. Mind no longer an accidental intruder into the realm of matter, but rather it is the creator and the governor of the realm of matter. That means the mind now is the governor and the creator. They said, rather than they are accidental, intro into the realm. No, they are now the creator. Okay, the mind. The universe is immaterial. It is actually mental and spiritual. Okay, so that means all that we think actually matters. What we think matters only. Not the people outside, not the happening, not the bad karma, not the doldrum, not nothing. It's actually how we see things only. Okay, that's why you can see what some people going through that kind of crisis but very steady one, no. But some people, the crisis so small, already broke down. Why like that? It's the different mind. The crisis is the same. Given the same crisis, some cannot take it really. Why some can? It's nothing wrong with the crisis. It's that person. It's the mind of that person. So now we start to see things from a different perspective. We realize it's not the crisis anymore. It is our mind. How we perceive things. Okay? So, we don't talk about so far. Okay? We talk about our own people. Like our spouse, our children, our belonging, our wealth, incident that happened around us. Okay? And our past memories, our past hurt. All these is actually unreal. It's only we make them so real, so relevant to us that we hold on so tightly on them. We realize, and this match with impermanence and non-self. We hold on so tightly to the things around us, the people around us, and now the Buddha and even the scientists said they are not real. That's why they are so impermanent and they are so non-self, so uncontrollable. Because they are not real. It is actually the mind that makes them so real. Okay? Finally, reality is defined by the mind that is observing. Okay, especially this double slit experiment. They use the eyes to look at the experiment. Okay? Reality is defined by the mind that is observing. Okay, when I observe. So it becomes so real because the mind is observing. The scientists call the observing mind the participator. Okay, something happened when you observe it, you become the participator, and you make things real or not real is the participator, the person who observes. Okay, this is called the Heisenberg, the guy who actually hid the whole thing, called Werner Karl Heisenberg, a German physicist. He said, when a participator observes through a method of questioning on an object, at that time they were using electron. Before that they used water, used wave. Then after that you use electrons. They go into quantum physics and testing up, because quantum physics represent everything, because we are going down to the core like molecule, and electrons, right? So they found out the observed object, that means when this observing mind, they observe, they participate in the thing, the object being observed one suddenly become finite possibility. Finite possibility means what? Suddenly becomes stupid already. Because when you observe, you define the time, speed, and space. Suddenly the object slowed down one, And when you don't observe it, unobserved object has infinite potential. Okay, what does it mean here? Means when I'm a participator, I look at something and I define it, this object suddenly slowed down. No more full potential. But if I don't observe it, I let it fly, suddenly the potential is unlimited. Means what? Okay, two things. The nearer one is our own children or people around us. The moment you define our children, that's it. That's what he is. The moment you say you're stupid and he believes he's stupid, that's it. Because you define it. You define, oh, you're very good at this, but you're no good at this. Or he listen, oh, yeah. He will be like that. Define. The being observed is defined by the participator. Okay? So, coming even nearer to us, ourselves, even ourselves, So, if we define whatever according to what we see, we are actually clamped down by our concepts. Because we already thought like that. Correct or not? Because the moment you start to define, our potential is limited to that only. If we take away all the concept and the perception of what the world gives us, our potential is unlimited. No. And what is this potential? Psychic. People can do psychic one. But I'm not talking about those bad ones. I'm talking about really pure until suddenly the psychic come out, everything. Because why? You live within your concept, you cannot have supernatural power one. Because you are conceptualized. Okay, who had this experience? At very, very crucial moment, suddenly you can lift up something very, very heavy. Happened in America, one lady, because the son was under the car. She was so panicky that she forgot all her concept. She only wanted to save the son. Suddenly she lifted the whole car up. That's it. I also had that before. I never imagined I can cross the drain one, I was 6 years old, the drain is like so far, so big, those construction sites. But I can jump and fly the other side. I also don't know why.
Dog chasing you.
Yeah, dog. Correct. You also know. Dog chased me, but we were playing The dog chased me. I can fly over the drain. Those construction site, there's no development that time. I think to myself, I say, hey, how come I can do that? Because, because the split of a moment, your concept all gone. Suddenly your supernatural power come on. Many people experience this kind of thing before. You get me? So that's why we are limited because of our concepts. We are so bound by it. And now the Buddha told you, the scientists also told you. Okay, how do we use this in our life? Okay? Don't allow supernatural power, no need lah. We only need all this to help us to go through our bad moments. Moments when we don't have law of affordance. Okay? So, how we actually solve our problem, that one we come step by step. That's why we need 11 classes. I just want to elaborate today how this making real things affect us. Because when you see how it affects us, then only we start to learn how to kill the I, eliminate the I. Okay? So how it affects us. Okay? So they are not real because as the scientist said, the Buddha said, they are not real, but we are so bound by our concept and make them so relevant, so real. So what is the next thing that happened to us that make us so much of suffering? There are 3 things that happen. Number 1, this is a very killing one. We have expectation because we thought they are real. We don't know. We thought they are real because we brand them, we entangled them, we identify them. Okay, for example, we cannot see things as it is already because when we thought they are real, spouse. Okay, there's a concept in the world called marriage. The marriage system let us think that this is my spouse. She or he is mine. More real. Correct? Very real. I can touch him. Like I said before, why we can feel somebody very real, Yeah, a guy told me, not real, man. I can touch what? See, I can touch you. You're not real, man. I say, you know why so real? Because you are also unreal. I am also unreal. When unreal touch unreal, very real one, no. When real touch unreal, I know this is, I touch a cartoon, I know this is not real. But if, let's say, I'm also a cartoon, you're also a cartoon, we touch each other, we are like real one, no. Because we are all in a dream. Even I myself also not real. You get me not? So this concept of marriage, husband, wife, okay, make real by all human, by all of us. Okay? So when this is real and this is mine, what will increase? Expectation. They're so real, ma. Don't forget, behind this unreal thing, there is impermanence and non-self, because they are unreal. Okay? So actually, this man or this woman that I'm married to is only a sentient being with 4 elements and 5 aggregates. That's all. The Buddha said, seeing things as it is. Don't see him as your husband. See him as a sentient being. Drop all the expectation. Not to free him, no. Free ourselves. Not for his benefit, no. It's for my benefit. If you think he's so real, you want to hold on to it, who suffer? We suffer. You know, the Buddha is teaching us to free ourselves, not free others, you know. Okay? So, that's why we have concept like, because of expectation, husband must love me forever. Cannot change. Okay? Must be forever so loving. Right? Can only love me alone, no other person. Spouse lah. Okay, for a wife, same thing lah. Okay? So, for a husband, must bring back money to raise family and give security. Okay? For a woman, must give birth, must have children, must take care of the children's education and behavior. Right? Expectation ma. Correct or not? Right? Then husband and wife must protect each other in all bad times. Correct or not? That's why back in 2008 during the Sichuan earthquake, a lot of divorces. Why? Because they expect like that. So during the earthquake, the husband run first, you know. The wife are all left behind. Suddenly, the wife realized, this is not the man I want. They broke down. They divorced. So a lot of divorces happened after the earthquake. The tour agent was telling us that, our tour guide telling us that, the experience. And a lot of people get married also because started to feel must appreciate each other. So a lot of marriages started and then a lot of divorces also. Okay, why divorces? Because you expect, I expect you to protect me. But you didn't know. That's why the marriage gone. Right? So these are expectation of a spouse. Expectation on children. Same thing what? They must be filial and respectful. Must be appreciative of what I do for them. Must. Okay? Should. Alright? All these are the expectation we have. Must be thankful and listen to me. I'm the most important because I'm your mommy and he is your daddy. Okay? Must be most important. So the moment children grow up with girlfriend, boyfriend, no more daddy, mommy, we broke down. Yeah. Now my peers are like that. Many of my friends, women, they cannot accept. They're actually very, very sad. The children now started to favor other things, not her. Okay? So because the expectation is there, right? So, and then we also expect children when I grow old, they will take care of me. Okay? They don't send me to old folks home. They must take me and see doctor, give me money. Hey, this one very sneaky, behind us, Expect. Okay? We are expecting all this. Okay? So, because everybody is like that, so we do like that, So, expectation become worsen, especially we think they are so real. Not only we expect them, we also give everything in. Correct or not? We sacrifice everything for them and treat them so well, and I think I should expect more. So your expectation double fold already now. Right? If you don't sacrifice, don't dare to expect what. But because they're so real, so you start to work harder for them. And when they don't want us, wow, we break down. Correct? So this is the whole thing start off with making real already. You got a lot of expectation. Besides spouse and children, also our parents, we also expect one. As mother, you should love me and care for me. Okay? As a father, you should protect us and bring back money. Okay? But what if they don't? What if they don't? Yeah. We make them so real. Right? Okay. In-laws. In-laws must be understanding. Okay? Must cooperate with me. You know? So again, ask ourselves, what if they don't? Okay? Because we expect. Friends. Friends must be trustworthy. We must help each other. We must be brother. You know? We must not betray each other. Okay? You see how many betrayals happening. Okay? And then we broke down. Because we behind what is happening, the expectation running. Because we thought they are so real. Okay? Bosses give us increment, bonus, appraise us that time, must appreciate my hard work. You know? A lot of times it's not the case. Politicking, you know, and self-interest, you know, all this happening. And finally, government, our country, our government, no need to pay tax better. We got petroleum, you see people say things like that. Why GST? Things like that. And then corruption, we expect corruption-free. And we expect the government to be very efficient, you know, like those developed countries. So all these things make us very unhappy one. You know, that's why when you reposition and step back and see, actually we are subjected to all these expectations all the time because we think everything around us is so real and this is the story I live in. This is the story I live in. Because everybody is telling you the same. Because this is samsara. This is samsara. Okay? So, that's why we need to wake up. Just wake up will do. But the waking up, the thing that makes us difficult is the consistency. Okay, after the expectation and what happened? Sure, with this kind of expectation, we bound to have a lot of disappointment. Correct or not? Because of non-self and impermanence. Correct or not? You expect your spouse to do things like that because of impermanence and non-self working, and because of this guy is actually not real as what you thought he is. Okay? So, because of all this happening, and then of course I didn't add in all the karma creditors. That one even worse. Okay? So, you're bound to meet with a lot of disappointment. Okay? This disappointment will lead us to think ourselves is victim. Victimization. Okay? We thought we are very unlucky. Why I married this kind of husband? Why I married this kind of wife? You know? Why I have this kind of father, mother? You know? Because of the expectation, we begin to feel that we are very ill-treated or feel very unfair. Okay? Because everything, we thought it was like that and it was not. Alright? Then, because during this expectation, very sneaky one, insecure people, they usually, because they want protection, so because they expect, so they ask for help and protection. inferior people, they always want people to recognize. So they expect the children to appreciate them, expect the wife to look up to them, expect the husband to say thank you. You know, all these are happening. Okay? So when they cannot fulfill, when all these are because of whatever is behind, just now I mentioned, so you get a lot of disappointment and thus bring you to victimization. A lot of people you ask around feel very unfair, very unhappy. Okay, because a lot of disappointment. You know, my birthday never celebrate. Forgot also. This kind of thing lah. I want this but never fulfill. I want that but never fulfill. Okay, so once you have this victimization, definitely you see a lot of fear and anger, right? And then this victimization, sometimes is really you create one. Some people, the expectation is really too much. Really too much. Like, for example, I know some people, they are suffering. You know, maybe the husband ill-treat them or whatever, say things very harsh. I say, why you don't talk to him? Then she told me, she said, he should know. What do you mean he should know? You tell lah. This kind of thing he should know. A lot of people don't tell things properly one, no. I expect you to know what. Yeah, this side is expect too high already. And I realize a lot, you know, a lot of people are like that. Because that's why the Westerners always say, communicate. You have to say things out. You cannot over-expect others to look at you all the time. And must know how you feel. You see? This side is over-expectation already.
So last time I also got a friend. She actually that time working for a client of mine. Alright. So this girl, very young girl, and the boss, the lady boss, was actually quite new in business. So my friend, she drive around the boss car everywhere to fetch the daughter to go see client. That time not very nice car. So as time goes by, the business grow, and then the boss become quite well to do, and then employ more employees. And now she bought a BMW. So one day I met this friend. She said she was very angry with the boss. I said, why? Because she never let me drive her BM. She looked down on me. I say, hey, fellow, you only employee, you don't forget. Why should your boss let you drive her BM? Like that, over expect. But she very angry about this point. She suffer. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we over expect, you know.
Okay, and then also some expect too high because they find that they marry a husband, the purpose is to relax, no need to work anymore. A lot of women think like that one, okay? And because of that, end up you still have to work, so very angry. Expect too much. Why? You look at world now, price all escalating. How? It's not the husband not working very hard. Husband helping very hard already. But just cannot meet. How? But my expectation, I got into marriage, it's not like that. It's not over expectation. So suddenly feel very victimized. These are a lot also. A lot women, they work and then they have to raise the family because they are more capable. Then they felt very, very unfair. Okay? So a lot of blame and complaint. So here, come up with what? Fear and anger. Okay? So they start to feel fearful and angry because they think that they are victims. Okay? And these victim things it's not like I'm a victim, you know. The moment you feel unfair to yourself, ill-treated, that is called victimization already. Okay? And after you being victimized, you have a lot of fear and anger. What is the next thing will happen to us lah? Yeah, you think a lot, correct. Imagination. You start to imagine. Why? Because of this victimization, you create a lot of fear and anger. You start to have a lot of imagination that bad things will happen.
A lot of times, imagination make us cannot sleep. It's like when something happen, right? Then you start to think of all the consequences. Then in order to prevent all the consequences, you start to think about what you're supposed to do. Or then the mind becomes very active, then you cannot sleep. Okay? He's going to say like that. And when he say like that, I'm going to say like that. And when he say like that, I'm going to say like that. And I'm say like that. Actually, nobody say anything, no. Correct or not? Then the thing, so we cannot sleep. The mind very active.
Alright? So for example, when husband cannot provide, okay, then the wife will think, sleep under the bridge. Very extreme one, no? Okay? Some very fearful one, usually very extreme. Hunger, nothing to eat. So, like for example, husband always go out, then you start to think, sure got third party. You know? Sure enjoying outside. Spend all my money. No wonder cannot bring back enough. You know? Things like that. And and when children don't appreciate, not filial, die lah. Next time old already, I sure wipe table in the coffee shop. You know, so then start to keep money. Calculative. You know, don't give. Must be stingy. You know why? Because scared. Too scared already, so they overdo things. Alright? And then some people, I know friends who are very, very negative. They think of explosion. You know, the son work in that kitchen. Don't. Then the gas cylinder explode, you know. And I have very rich friends, they don't go overseas because aeroplane. Very scared of the aeroplane. The furthest they go is Singapore. You know, very rich, you know, but because of the fear. As I said, last time I know a boy. He is very tall, handsome, and studying in college, a lawyer to be. At 23, he dare not cross the road. He needs the girlfriend to carry his hand. Because of the fear, the imagination, the parents always told on him. So bad, 23 years old. No? So that's why all this fear and imagination we create, and a lot of times we overspill it to people around us. And we make our children also very worrisome because of imagination. Okay? So all these we start to, we have to be careful, right? So the moment when we have a lot of imagination, again, go back to the same principle, by virtue of a force, the imagination becomes real inside your mind. That's why people become psychosis, is because of that. That's why according to the American statistics, 95% of the things that we worried never happen. 95%, you know. So why think so much? Because of the fear and the anger created from the victimization, starting from expectation. And why? What is a snake head? It's because we thought everything is so real, it's mine, it's so called relevant to me. Okay? So every individual on earth is only a sentient being. It's only 4 elements and 5 aggregates, that's all. You know? But we start to brand them, give them a lot of concept, a lot of perception. So then we start our dream, our own expectation. Okay, so extreme overdoing, we go into depression, we become psycho, even actually we have a lot of sickness, a lot of stress, you know, and finally some people even kill themselves or maybe kill others, commit crime. Okay, so this is the sub story of a person who make things around them so real. The more real they are, the more suffering we have. The less real they are, the better we are. Okay? So the snake head is starting from the making real. So our whole 11 classes, we are talking about that one only. We don't ask you not to expect. We don't ask you how to get over with how people mistreat you. You know, there's no to do. It's only the waking up. Okay? So I think maybe I leave this one until here. Next month we come back, we will talk about how do we handle this. Okay, this is how the making real make us suffer. All right. The second part we will talk about how from the making real there we wake up. Okay. Then from there one by one the class we go into fear, we go into anger, we go into guilt, we go into sadness. Okay. And finally we talk about karma, dirt, and karma creditors. They also playing a part in our life, a big part actually. Okay, but we are just not aware of them. Okay, and then finally, talk about the Diamond Sutra. Yes?
Mr. Carol, how about those people who have edema and have brain damage like both?
But actually, that's not very healthy for the mind of that person. But this person actually proved one thing. The moment we don't have so much memory and concept, we are much happier one. You get me? You see the Alzheimer patients, you see our children. Children, young children, they don't have concept. They're very happy. What is poor? Poor? What is poor? They they play together. The day start when they go to school. Teachers say, you make mistake. Beat. Oh, cannot make mistake. Whole life, I'm so afraid of mistake. Because concept comes in. Is it not? So the Alzheimer people actually are happy. What sometimes you see them eat, sleep. Don't know what is that. Actually, do you know a Mahasattva is like that? A Mahasattva is not like or A like that. A Mahasattva is like a child. You don't respect him. You thought he is not educated. You know? You thought he's like that. Hey, a Mahasattva is like a child like that. But he has a brain. That day I just read, I was Googling, I was doing some research. So I saw one guy, I don't know whether you know him. Actually, I always look at his science explanation. And he mentioned about Einstein. According to some people, there's some psychic, they told us Einstein is actually a Mahasattva. Take birth in a form of Einstein, a great man. So actually, they actually describe this person, He say he has a mind like a child. He asks stupid questions, and yet he is very serious with his question. And he keep pursuing to find out what is it. He asks questions like, why is there space? Why is there time? A stupid question, sounds stupid, Wait, he is the smartest man on earth, And he found out actually time and space is a delusion. He say he has a mind like a small child, but the wisdom like a very matured man. He has the combination of both. That's why a Mahasattva is actually like that. So that's why when people say he's a Mahasattva, I'm not surprised. So that's why sometimes when we open up our concept, we start to see things very differently. We realize we are very, very cheated by a lot of things we thought it was like that. You get me or not? So that's why the whole 5 PAT is waking up. Any questions? Until here. Next one we come back, we will still on this topic, but how do we go to the snake head and start to turn around? Okay, this is what the Buddha taught us. Waking up only. Okay, nothing much to do. Right? So, any other questions? We still have a little bit of time. Yes?
I have a question about the imagination. Because from here it seems like imagination is very bad. But I believe that a lot of scientific breakthroughs come with a lot of imagination. Relativity of time, I think at least the hypothesis has to come with imagination.
Correct.
So, for last time people just ride horses, now we have cars because of So I don't
Okay, you see, imagination, there are two. Of course, now we are talking about a bad context. That one, I would like to call it visualization. Visualization is good. Okay, you listen to this phrase. Visualization is the language of subconsciousness. Visualization is the language of our subconsciousness. Okay? So if your subconscious can give you some visualization, you can do wonders. They say, that's why this one is actually mind-blowing. Whatever we can visualize in our mind, all workable, all achievable. Scary, And this is what the scientists are doing. They start to visualize, like what you say, visualize, like even with this new age, with all the artificial intelligence, new energy, all the nanotechnology, all these are from where? From all the visualization, like what you say. People start to think. That's why there is this university called Singularity University in California. This university, they only invite what people know, young people with a lot of ideas. They ask them to come in, they give them space to develop themselves in the university. Whatever ideas you have, you just tell it. From there they explore, and they make things true. These alone can actually tell whatever we visualize can happen one. Since day one, science like that, until today, a lot of things people visualize only, they actually make real already. Because everything can make real, all because of the mind. Yeah. China people, now I saw the video, they put they put computer chips into bacteria. So that they put the bacteria inside your body with computer chip, go to your cancer part, So next time, you can have this technology. They're doing it already now. Imagine, 40 years ago, computer as big as a shop house. 40 years later, computer as big as a chip we carry in our phone, right? Another 20 years later, where will computer chips be? They say inside our cell. You go out onto the net, you can check. All these are the latest of the technology. So any other question? Never mind, you go back, you think about it first, alright? And then anything you can ask me, the next round we come back, and then I will continue on. How do you go back to the snake head there and then actually eliminate our eye? Yes?
Just now you mentioned that this 5 path is about waking up.
Yes.
My question is, when Buddha was enlightened, people asked who is he? He said, he's awake.
Correct.
He's awake, same as the wake up that you mentioned.
Oh yes, of course. The waking up means what, to know the truth of life, the ultimate truth of life. That's all. Now we didn't know. We only know certain truth. We thought it was truth. But they are not ultimate truth. You get me, not? So that's why the Buddha only preached one thing, wake up. The, chanting, go and do good, all these are not to say no good, but they are the way leading to that. Means, means. Yeah, that one is 直接, you go there, we call it the 顿悟法. Immediately you wake up, that's all. This one you slowly, you step by step, like that. Actually you're going there as well. But it's just that the waking up is slower. It's not to say no. That's why it's a 方便, there's a means to it only. But this one is actually, we promote, you can wake up anytime. Because according to some sources, they said, people now, especially young people, and even us, during the computer era, we also know how to use computer, isn't it? So we are also part of them. Our mind now, very different from those people last time. We are very, very, very smart, swift, and can understand things very fast. So that's why the waking up is very, very right on the dot now. Right on the dot now. People like you sit here. If I tell you, I'm a 1, precept, dana, I tell you, you fall asleep one. Correct or not? Because our mind too swift already. Especially the younger ones. When they come out, you tell them methodology, means one by one like that. They feel very boring one. Because of the computer era. people now very different. So you want to give them something very quick, very fast. So now this is the right time. So this is what we promote lah. Not to say lah, the one no good, oh so good, but it's just that you can choose. You got option. You know, those like the slower one, then go slower one lah. But at least there is still an option for people who wants to know very quickly. There's a way. You get me or not? So 5PAT, we promote that one. We promote the quickly wake up one. Then from wake up there, the slowly you come back. When you become a human being or normal, whatever role you carry out, you will be a good person naturally, automatically. Not because you think it should be like that. Because of the waking up, the effect is so great that you are no longer like that anymore.
If a person waking up already, no more sleeping.
No more sleeping already. Because this Surangama Great Samadhi, the one, the stepping back one, reposition and step back one, that one is a skill. And this skill, if you make it into a habit, you will no longer want to go back to the story one. You will no longer want to. It's just like now, we are so into the delusion to like to follow story, like our mental object to grow and grow. It's like a habit lah. The moment you are out of it already, you ask a Mahaswata or a Bodhisattva to become like, go inside there, CCTV, go and dwell into all the story. He cannot already. It's just like I ask you to wake up, you cannot also. It's a habit. The moment you have a habit of waking up, you don't want to go in there anymore because your habit is not like that. Everything is number game. Very fair one. Number game and habit and tendency. The more you wake up, the less suffering you have. That's all. Why we want to play this number game? Because of suffering, We don't want to suffer anymore. That's why we want to wake up. And when we wake up, we realize that all the suffering is really so unnecessary and so stupid. That's all only. Okay? So we see how lah. Next month I come back. Alright? So you remember this. I'll do a brief revision and then after that we go into the way to handle it. Okay? Thank you very much. 11:30.
Thank you, sister. Let's say a
Thank you.
sadhu. Sadhu.